642-87053, State versus Robert A. Rivera, and 642-870, State versus Justin J. Salazar. Mr. Rivera, Mr. Salazar, make yourself.
I'm present, Your Honor.
Mr. Salazar, I see you. Mr. Rivera.
I'm present, Your Honor.
Very good. Thank you, gentlemen. Would you gentlemen please raise your right hand? Do each of you solemnly swear that in your particular case, the information and responses you submit will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, gentlemen. Put your hand down. Gentlemen, each of you has I'm aware that each of you has made an agreement, a plea bargain with the state on the charges that are pending against you, respectively. Before you do so, I need to inform you verbally, and that the informing that I do is recorded by my court reporter, Ms. Kaylin Rivera. She's making an official record of this proceeding. Specifically, I need to inform you of your rights and protections that are afforded you. Number one, you have the right to remain silent. Each of you has that right individually, independently. You cannot be required to make a statement, nor to answer questions, nor to submit. You cannot be required or compelled to submit written papers with your signature, especially papers that wherein you admit or confess to wrongdoing. You also each have independently the right to an appeal. An appeal is essentially a right where you yourself or your attorney or the two of you together can demand that a higher court review the official record and evidence in your particular case for whatever legal challenge you wanted to make. You have to be cautious about using the right of appeal because of the technical nature. You have to submit the right paperwork with the right information. You also have to be mindful of time limitations that are involved. But nonetheless, you'd have the right to demand that a higher court review and respond to your questions about or challenges about legal matters. You also have the right to, you and the state in your individual cases, have the right to demand that this matter be held in an open public courtroom. Because of the COVID pandemic, we're not doing that. So it is, in order to proceed, you have already signed a document that identifies each of you individually. And then it says, it is titled Defendant's Consent to Video Conference, meaning that instead of the open public courtroom, you agree to do this proceeding as we are doing by computer. And it is placed on the internet, the public internet. Do each of you understand these rights that I have discussed and explained to you?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Gentlemen, in order to proceed with this plea, your individual pleas, you had to review and sign documents that are part of this record. Did each of you individually confer with and have the help of your attorney before you signed each of the documents that are part of your record? Mr. Rivera.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Salazar.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Did each of you understand the documents that you have signed, Mr. Salazar?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Rivera.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do either one of you have any questions about the documents that you signed, Mr. Rivera?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Salazar?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Now, among the documents that you've signed, one of the most critical, they're all important, but one of the most critical identifies each of you individually by name, case number, and court number. And it is titled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Courts Admonitions. This particular document refers to you individually, each of you, and it it cautions you in writing. It tells you in writing what your rights and protections are that I have discussed with you verbally, but this is now in writing. These documents, this particular document, also makes clear, among other things, that whatever deal you individually made with the state, it is subject to my yes or no. As the judge, I have the authority and responsibility to review your plea bargain and say yes or no to it. I also have the authority and responsibility to set and or approve your punishment. Each of you has a punishment range that ultimately will be a fine from $0 to $2,000 in jail from 0 days to 180 days. Now, you're going to be, in this particular document, the waiver of constitutional rights and court's admonitions, it reminds you, and you have in writing acknowledged that you understand that whatever deal you've made, it's up to me. If I reject your deal, that is, if I don't accept it, or if I give you a punishment that's right within the correct punishment range, but heavier than what you have agreed to, in either case, the law would allow you to start all over again, and nothing that you've said or anything that you've signed would be used against you. Is that clear, Mr. Salazar?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes, Your Honor.
So did each of you understand that document when you signed it, Mr. Salazar?
Yes, I understood.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, another document of importance, all of them are, in particular, this one is regarding your right of appeal. I have prepared and submitted to you a document titled Trial Court's Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. That document tells each of you individually, by name, case, and court number, that you are giving up your right to appeal in exchange for part of this plea bargain. Did you understand that was going on, Mr. Rivera?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Salazar?
Yes, Your Honor.
You've each also applied for deferred adjudication probation. Deferred adjudication is very beneficial for you under the circumstances. Ms. Martinez has done a remarkable job for both of you. She has gotten the state to agree to reduce this 2 levels, not just from DWI extreme intox down to DWI first, but lower than that, which is obstruction of a passageway, highway, or waterway. That reduction takes your cases out of the DWI, technically out of the DWI range. It is also critically important because despite your pleading guilty and the evidence against you, I am not going to find you guilty. I'm going to honor the agreement that we will specify shortly. That is critically important because you will not be convicted even of obstruction of a highway, passageway, highway, or waterway, so long as you live up to the agreement, which is that each of you will live up to 100% of the conditions of supervision. Those conditions will be read to you. You will sign them. They'll put a copy in your hands. So be aware that there is a condition, a big condition. You must live up to 100% of the conditions of supervision. If you fail or refuse to do that, then what happens is the state may ask me to give you official notice, bring you in for a hearing. And if, in my opinion, based on the evidence, it is sufficient legally to do so, I will convict you. That will follow you the rest of your lives, and you'll be looking at the full range of punishment, from 0, no fine, to $2,000, and jail from 0 days to 180 days. Is that clear to you, Mr. Salazar?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Rivera?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Martinez, did you assist both these gentlemen in the reading, understanding, and signing of the different documents in this case?
I did, Your Honor.
Did you yourself sign one specifically agreeing that the state has complied with Article 39.14 Texas Code of Criminal Procedure?
I did for each case.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, gentlemen, each of you has, again, the benefit of some hard work. State, in both cases, you are making a motion. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. The same motion to be made in both cases. State moves to amend the information, adding count 2 of obstruction, and then moves to waive and abandon count 1 and proceed solely on count 2.
No objections on either case, Your Honor.
And do you also waive the 10-day notice on amendment?
We do, Your Honor.
Very good. Gentlemen, you're no longer charged with DWI extreme intoxication. You're now charged with obstruction of a passageway, highway, or waterway on both of your cases, each of you, your individual cases. To the charge of obstruction of a passageway, highway, or waterway, Mr. Rivera, how do you plead?
Guilty.
To the charge of obstruction of a passageway, highway, or waterway, Mr. Salazar, how do you plead?
Guilty.
All right. State, tell me the agreement and the punishment involved with it on Mr. Rivera.
Yes, Your Honor. The agreement is for 14 months deferred adjudication, $400 fine plus court costs,
How much?
400,
All right, go ahead.
48 hours community service, DWI education program, victim impact panel, TAP evaluation, and ignition interlock for 7 months.
All right. Ms. Martinez, is this the agreement on Mr. Rivera?
It is, Your Honor, and I would like to address the court on some matters.
All right, we'll do that shortly. What is the recitation, the agreement on Mr. Salazar?
Your Honor, the agreement is 14 months deferred adjudication, $300 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education program, victim impact panel, TAP evaluation, and 7 months of ignition interlock.
Very good. Is this the agreement on Mr. Salazar, Ms. Martinez?
Yes, Your Honor, and there are some items I'd like to address there also.
All right. Before I recite or look to the punishment, gentlemen, first, I find, based on your plea of guilty, each of you individually and the evidence, I find that there is sufficient evidence to find you individually guilty of the charge, but I do not find you guilty. Instead, I am granting you deferred adjudication. I'm honoring, at least in part, the agreement has been reached between you and the state. Now, Mr. Rivera, how do you have children?
Yes, sir. I have 2.
What ages?
I have 7 and 4.
All right. And how do you make a living? What is your income?
The money wise or the job description?
What is your total income from whatever the source?
Monthly?
However you want to do it, monthly or yearly, weekly,
Monthly
hourly?
is 1,900.
Monthly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have a wife that lives with you?
Yes, sir.
Does she work outside of the house?
No, sir.
All right. Are both your children relatively healthy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no particular medical needs. All right.
No.
In your case, sir, you are granted 14 months deferred adjudication. You will not apply for early termination of the deferred adjudication probation. You're fined $400. I will probate 100. That means if you do everything, you'll pay 300, not 400. You'll perform 48 hours community service restitution. You'll complete the DWI education program, the victim impact panel. You'll submit to a TAP evaluation, and the recommendations will be subject to my approval. You will have ignition interlock installed in your vehicle for 7 continuous months. During the 7 months, you're not to drive any vehicle other than your own equipped with the ignition interlock. Your supervisory fee will be $27 a month. Mr. Salazar,
Yes, Your Honor.
do you have children?
Not yet, but my girlfriend is 2 months pregnant, so I have one on the way.
All right.
Judge, can I interrupt for a minute on Mr. Rivera, Judge? There is
Yes,
something
ma'am.
I'd like to address there. He has completed both classes, the DWI education and the victim impact panel. I submitted those and attached those to the plea paperwork, so I'm asking the court to give him credit for those classes that he has completed. In
The court
addition
will
to
do so.
In addition to that, Judge, if Mr. Rivera is able to, he is asking the court, in lieu of performing his community service hours, to allow the court, to allow him to make donations or a combination thereof, if he's able to do so in the future.
Mr. Rivera, what would prevent you from doing community service work?
Just my job, maybe. I'm not too sure. Sometimes we work on Saturdays, sometimes we don't. But I mean, if we don't have no work, then I could try to work it out.
Well, you'll have 14 months to get it done. I will not approve that, only because if you do the work, you don't take the money out of your family budget.
Yes, sir.
All right. Anything else, Ms. Martinez, on Mr. Rivera?
Oh, Judge, that was it.
Okay, and I do, for the record, clearly give you credit for the DWI education and the victim impact panel. Mr.
Thank you.
Salazar, we were asking about do you have children and what ages?
Not yet. I have one on the way.
Okay, I got you. And what kind of a living do you make? What is your income and where are you working?
I'm an electrician. I work for Walker Engineering. I make $2,500 a month.
2,500 as an electrician?
Yes.
I would think you do a lot better. What is your hourly pay?
Right now, I just got moved to $24 an hour from 20. So for right now, I bring roughly 630, about 650 a week.
24, do you get any overtime?
No, sir, 40 hours a week.
That's $960 a week, sir.
After my take home but as my net pay for my take home, it's like $600. Sir.
What I show is $4,156.80 per month. That's far from what you're telling me. So I understand.
Judge,
what-
I believe he has insurance and other items that come out of his check, so that's why I was asking him earlier. He used to work, he changed jobs in May, Judge, because the other company he was working for closed during COVID. So he's moved to this new company. He's just become available for insurance. But with what they take out from his insurance and his other expenses, he told me he was bringing home $636 a week. Judge, he has a baby, they're 2 months pregnant, and when he adds that child onto his insurance, that's also going to be deducting more money from his pay.
Okay, I hear what you're saying.
And he also has completed the DWI education and the victim impact panel, Judge, so I'm asking the court to give him credit for that.
The court gives him credit for that, so long as there's documentation to that effect.
I did provide those to the court, Your Honor.
All right. You're granted 14 months deferred adjudication. You will not apply for early termination of the deferred adjudication. your fine will be $600, not 300. You'll do 48 hours community service restitution. You'll submit to a TAP evaluation and recommendations. You'll have 7 months ignition interlock on your personal vehicle to which you have access. You're not to drive any other vehicle during those 7 continuous months other than your own vehicle equipped with the ignition interlock. Both of you during the entire 14 months of deferred adjudication or any extensions will have to abstain from any alcohol or illegal drugs. Your supervisory fee will be $43 a month. Both of you are ordered to appear in the offices of County Court at Law Number 5 to have your thumbprint placed on the documents as required by law. You're also going to wait here and meet with Ms. Luna.
It's gonna be Ms. Diaz, Judge.
Okay, there is a Ms. Diaz that will meet with you to explain and to get you started on probation. I may have said it, but I'll repeat it. The conditions of your supervision are going to be read to you. You're going to sign them and they will put a copy in your hands. Now, Mr. Salazar, I have changed your deal by increasing the fine. It's your choice. You can accept what I have ordered or you can start all over again. That's your choice. What do you want to do?
I'll accept it.
All right. Any questions, Mr. Salazar?
No, Your Honor.
Any questions, Mr. Rivera?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Martinez, on either one of your clients?
Not at this time, Your Honor. The other thing, Mr. Salazar did mention, Judge, that he might like the opportunity to buy out his community service. Since the judge did increase his fine, I don't know if that's still something he would do, but if the court would give him the option if he's able.
In his case, I will authorize it. Authorize donation. My personal preference would be that he donates to the Gabriel Project. I ask him to do that, or he can choose to donate to the San Antonio Food Bank. That would be at the rate of $12 an hour. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor, and I'd like to.
Ms. Martinez, I just wanted to acknowledge that you've done a terrific job for these two people. I hope they appreciate it. If they don't, they should. Gentlemen, stay out of trouble. Just let me remind you, the worst thing that could happen in your lives is for you to be drinking and driving and you kill one of your own family. The second worst thing would be that you drink and drive and kill some innocent person. And if you see the news and the newspapers, it happens too much. Be careful. All right.